Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming, Jambavati, Vicky, Akhil, and Satya Sankalpa. And I see that we have a couple of devotees online as well. So I welcome all to the Bhakti Sastri class. We'll start with our Mangalacharan prayers, do a quick recap on what we have done so far, and then we can get Laksh. Thank you for coming as well. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Bhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Matsamo nasti papatma naparadhi chakaschana parihare pilajjame kim bhruve purushottama. Bhumau skalitapadanam bhumireva avalambanam Tvai jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabho. Namo Vishnu padaya Krishna preshtaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So, we are going to cover chapters 10, 11, and 12 today. Just to give a quick recap on the things that we have done so far. In the introduction in the first chapter of Nectar of Devotion, we discussed the verse Anyavilashita Shunyam, and we discussed the qualifications. If you go up a little bit in the slide, Prabhus. Not all the way, a little bit, yeah. So, right, so we did the introduction, and then we also discussed the primary verse of Nectar of Devotion, Anyavilashita Shunyam. We discussed it at length. I said this verse is going to come for memorization in the exam, and you need to also understand the primary and the secondary characteristics. It's there in the slides. The slides will be shared as well as I keep updating it. But if we go down a little bit, you'll see a chart describing the 64 items of bhakti. Little bit. Yes, this is the one. I think perfect. So the 64 items of Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti was mentioned, out of which 20 were of primary importance, 44 additional forms of service. And if you break the first 20, then you see the first 1 through 10 are pravritti, or activities to be accepted, 11 through 20 are activities to be avoided, and then 21 through 59 items of sadhana. So Rupa Goswami, he introduced each of these items, he defined those items, and then he quoted from scriptures on where he picked up those items from. So in the present class, we will continue with that. If you go to the slides from 10 onwards, chapter 10 onwards, we'll see that we'll continue like that. You can make it the PowerPoint presentation. Can we make it, expand it? There is a slideshow, right? Maybe you can just put it in the slideshow mode, if you can. Okay, that's fine. We can go to chapter 10, because that's where we are at. All right. So chapter 10 today covers items 23 through 26. And then hearing about the Lord is what is mentioned. So when you talk of Shravanam, or hearing about the Lord, and we can look up, if you have the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu copy, I can tell you from exactly where we are. So that will give an idea as well. For those online, you can look at your copy, because this will give you a good mapping. So on page 53, you can see how to discharge devotional service, chapter number 6, right? Page 53 on the book. So you can see there are mentioned are the 64 items. Correct? So then what we have is that if you go to page 56, we have the list of all the items. Then on page 66, item number 23. Yeah. So if you can control F23, yeah. It's there online as well. Page 120, one must hear. Page 56 and item 23. Right? So we are continuing with that series where Rupa Goswami is mentioning about one must hear about the Lord and his pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and similar books. Now we continue with that. And Rupa Goswami, he will say that, what do you mean hearing about the Lord? So then if you go back to the slide, then you can see what does it mean to hear about the Lord. And then we have, because if you see the chapter number 10, and that particular item is coming hearing. So Rupa Goswami says that hearing just doesn't mean the name, because if you chant in the morning then or in the afternoon whenever we can, then you hear the name of the Lord. But then someone might say that I am just hearing about the Lord. But Rupa Goswami says there are three aspects to hearing. One is hearing the name of the Lord, one is hearing the pastimes of the Lord, one is hearing the qualities of the Lord. So, and then he quotes from each of the scriptures on the evidence about hearing the name of the Lord, hearing the pastime of the Lord, and hearing the qualities of the Lord. So, for hearing the qualities of the Lord, he picks up one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, that is 12.3.15. Veda base 12.3.15. It is there. It is all mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. It's already there in the Nectar of Devotion, but we'll look up that particular verse, 12.3.15. So kindly repeat after me. Yastu tamashloka gunanuvadaha Sangiyate bhikshnamamangalagna Tameva nityam shrunuyada bhikshnam Krishne malam bhaktim abhipsamanaha Yastu tamashloka gunanuvada Sangiyate bhikshnamamangalagna Tameva nityam shrunuyada bhikshnam Krishne malam bhaktim abhipsamanaha. Vicky, the translation please, and then next Jambavati.
The person who desires pure devotional service to Lord Krishna should hear the narrations of Lord Uttama Shloka's glorious qualities, the constant chanting of which destroys everything inauspicious. The devotee should engage in such listening in regular daily assemblies and should also continue his hearing throughout the day.
Okay, looking at the translation, which verse, which aspect is supported? Hearing the name of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, or the qualities of the Lord? Which verse is Rupa Goswami is using to support name, form, or qualities? Sure? No. So hearing is there. We are hearing about the Lord is there. You have to hear the name, hear the forms, and hear the qualities. So three. So Rupa Goswami is using this particular verse to support one thing. Is it the name? Is it the form? Is it the qualities of the Lord? Is my quiz question to you. Yeah, here we go. Because it's already mentioned. Hearing the narration of Lord's Uttama Shlokas, glorious qualities. Similarly, he picks up one verse from Bhagavatam to support the pastimes. And then he picks up one more verse from, I believe, Skanda Purana or some other Puran that supports that one should hear the name of the Lord to destroy all his viciousness. That's how we break it down. So when you read the section about hearing, you'll be like, why are there so many shlokas being quoted about one verse? Because each hearing will have like separate aspects to it. Hearing the name, hearing the form, or hearing the pastimes, and hearing the qualities of the Lord. And this Rupa Goswami picks up in the for the qualities of the Lord. So far, so good. Okay. This is an important verse, important aspect that we'll discuss. You can go back to the slides. Item number 24 is expecting Lord's mercy. So this one, I ask Akhil, if you can just open the Nectar of Devotion and go to this relevant section where it is mentioned expecting the Lord's mercy. And this one we will read. So Jambavati, I think this is what we need to read once it comes. That will be chapter 11. Chapter 10, sorry, thank you, perfect. Yeah, no, it's correct. Chapter 10, my apologies. The next one, after hearing, expecting Lord's mercy. Yes, you have a question? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. I see that the Bhagavatam verse which describes about the importance of hearing the pastimes is 429, 30 to 40. Which one is for name?
Oh, name is in there. No, name is not from Bhagavatam. Name is, yep, it's from Garuda Purana. Garuda Purana, it is mentioned here in the Garuda Purana. So it's interesting, thank you for bringing it up, because it is mentioned, at least it might be a little bit anachronistic from the modern times, because in the previous ages, when a person was bitten by a serpent and was lying unconscious, they would utter mantras in the ears and the person would be regenerated. And Prabhupada says that those who are bitten by the serpent of Maya, they are lying in an unconscious state. Merely by hearing the names of the Lord, you can revive back. So that is the example from Garuda Purana that is used. But that's a good point that you brought up. Yeah. Rupa Goswami, he bases on Bhagavatam mainly, but he doesn't limit himself to Bhagavatam. He uses across the board. He uses Puranas, he uses Pancharatras, he uses Yamalatantra. So many, some scriptures I don't even hear and they are not even present right now. But we just accept on the faith, because that's a parampara system. When our Acharya says that this is what is the thing, then we accept it as the source. Good? All right. Yes, Lakshmi.
Expecting the Lord's mercy.
Oh, he had a question before, if you could read. Sorry.
Krishna, yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, what is the major difference between pastime and qualities? Because pastime is full of qualities only. So, how we can understand?
So, Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, and we can discuss the pastime. But Krishna has Kaustuva jewel, and he is the mark of Srivatsa. His eyes are extremely beautiful like lotus petals. So those are all the qualities of the Lord. And the other thing is, Krishna is, it's mentioned in Bhagavatam, Krishna is Bhagavan Bhakta Bhaktiman. That Bhagavan who has bhakti towards his bhaktas. Bhagavan Bhakta Bhaktiman. It's a quote from Bhagavatam. We can look it up, not now, but it is like, how is it that the Lord wants to serve? Lord has bhakti towards his bhaktas. Why is it? There is one of the qualities of the Lord. So that is the difference between the pastimes and the qualities. Thank you. Yes.
Expecting the Lord's mercy. In the 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 8, it is said, "My dear Lord, any person who is constantly awaiting your causeless mercy to be bestowed upon him, and who goes on suffering the resultant actions of his past misdeeds, offering you respectful obeisances from the core of his heart, is surely eligible to become liberated, for it has become his rightful claim."
Please continue.
This statement of Srimad Bhagavatam should be the guide of all devotees.
Can you please repeat that statement?
This statement of Srimad Bhagavatam should be the guide of all devotees. A devotee should not expect immediate relief from the reactions of his past misdeeds. No conditioned soul is free from such reactionary experiences, because material existence means continued suffering or enjoying of past activities. If one has finished his material activities, then there is no more birth. This is possible only when one begins Krishna conscious activities, because such activities do not produce reaction. Therefore, as soon as one becomes perfect in Krishna conscious activities, he is not going to take birth again in this material world. A devotee who is not perfectly freed from the resultant actions should therefore continue to act in Krishna consciousness seriously, even though there may be so many impediments. When such impediments arise, he should simply think of Krishna and expect his mercy. That is the only solace. If the devotee passes his days in that spirit, it is certain that he is going to be promoted to the abode of the Lord. By such activities, he earns his claim to enter into the kingdom of God. The exact word used in this verse is dayabhak. Dayabhak refers to a son's becoming the lawful inheritor of the property of the father. In a similar way, a pure devotee who is prepared to undergo all kinds of tribulations in executing Krishna conscious duties becomes lawfully qualified to enter into the transcendental abode.
Nice. So, because ultimately sometimes the devotees come thinking that, the moment they come, they walk through the temple, everything has become changed and everything becomes perfect. And quite some devotees mention that, it's great when I'm in the temple, but when I go out again, the material world kind of shows its actual face. And this perfectly answers that. We are always in a state of expecting Lord's mercy, but we cannot force the Lord to say that according to my timetable, you act. Krishna will act according to his timetable. But the devotee's attitude is brought up here, that I am patiently awaiting the day that my own sinful deeds are terminated by the will of Krishna. But I will pass my days in that, and never giving up the hope that Krishna will not shower his mercy on me. He will. It is just, there is time. Yeah. And the verse, I think we already memorized that verse, or for those who are unfamiliar, the verse used here is Tattenu Kampam. That is the verse Rupa Goswami quotes from Bhagavatam. Tattenu Kampam Susamikshmano Bunjana Evatma Kritam Vipakam Hridvag Vapurbir Vidadhan Namaste Jivetayo Muktipade Sadaya Bhak. So Srila Prabhupada actually uses the Daya Bhak from that particular verse. Jivetayo Muktipade Sadaya Bhak. So if I can just maintain that spirit that Krishna will give, that's enough. That's enough to move the heart of Krishna. Saying that this devotee of mine, he or she is not like, not in impatient to expect my mercy. And please understand that Krishna is also working, if not working overtime, to get you out of this material existence as well. He knows our past, he knows our present, he knows our future, what we've done. So he says that let me work in a way that I can get this devotee out of the struggle of material existence. Good? Yeah, and I personally was really happy, or I was so satisfied to read this purport, because Srila Prabhupada says this is the guide to all the devotees. Some he gives some he is very specific in his instructions, but some he just gives it to, this statement of Bhagavatam is a guide to all the devotees. So the next one is remembrance. If you go back to the slide, please. So, Lakshya, if you can do in the remembrance, this is what Rupa Goswami mentions, or Srila Rupa Goswami mentions as the definition of remembrance. So, you do the Sanskrit if you can, and then do the one line below that.
Atha smrita yatha katham chin manasa sambandha smriti ruchyate. Remembrance, connecting the mind to the Lord somehow or other, is called remembrance.
Connecting the mind to the Lord somehow or other is called remembrance. So we do our best to remember the Lord at as much as possible. That's the thing. And then if Srila Prabhupada, and otherwise, let's see what else. Srila Rupa Goswami quotes one verse. Then we go to, next is the meditation. The next line item is meditation. If you come down, yeah. So in the meditation, either Akhil or Satya Sankalpa can do the Sanskrit and Atha Dhyanam. You can grab a mic. Let me know if you need help with Sanskrit.
Atha dhyanam dhyanam rupa guna krida sevadeshustu chintanam.
Yeah, just do the first line. Okay.
Atha dhyanam.
No. Meditation.
Meditation means to contemplate with absorption upon the Lord's form, qualities, pastimes, and service.
So here, the subtle difference between remembering the Lord and meditation, it might seem almost the same. But here, the word is, remembering the Lord is somehow or other. But meditating on the Lord is sushtu chintanam, means like deep absorption. Meditating means it's much more deeper, because remembrance is like casual. Oh, I remember the Lord, sometimes I might not. But meditation is much more deeper. And it's deeper absorption on Krishna. And Rupa Goswami says four aspects of the Lord. One is Rupa, which is the Lord's form. Guna, Lord's qualities. Krida is pastimes. And Seva is to service. So deep absorption on service. I mean, so on a practical level, for example, in the temple, we find that if somebody is making a garland for the Lord, and then they are in deep meditation on what color to be used, what dress can be used. So that is one of the meditation on the service. And pastimes and qualities and form, of course, that we discussed earlier, but this is one of the aspects of the... And that is the difference between remembrance and meditation. And Srila Prabhupada actually quotes Jiva Goswami, that there was one Brahmana, let me look up the place, I don't remember the place. Pratishthana. So it is, they quote a story from Brahma Vaivarta Purana. There was a Brahmana from Pratishthana in South India, and he was not having a lot of wealth. He was very poor. So he is a great devotee of the Lord, so he would be thinking of how to serve Krishna, and sometimes he would do so many things in mind. One day he had this desire, let me make some kheer for the Lord. And of course, he was so poor, he didn't have ingredients. So in the mind, he started meditating. He started getting milk, he started getting rice, and he put the milk and the rice together. It's all in the meditation, nothing is happening on the thing. And then he gets some sugar and he adds aromatic spices and camphor and other thing, and the kheer is boiling. And the Brahmana is in this meditation still thinking, oh my God, this is such a wonderful kheer that I'm making for the Lord. And then after a long time, the kheer was done, but the quality of the characteristic is that the kheer must be offered cold to the Lord. It shouldn't be too hot. But the Brahmana was not sure, is it too hot? Is it too cold? And in his meditation, he was thinking, maybe I should actually put my hand and check. And he puts the hand in his meditation, and it is hot. Immediately in the meditation, he takes out his hand from the kheer. And then he opens his eyes. He looks up. His hand is actually burnt. And this is one of the things that is mentioned by Prabhupada here, quoting Jiva Goswami on maybe the service aspect. So it is mentioned, Krishna accepted. Therefore, for pure devotional service, there is no impediment. Oh, I don't have money, and therefore I cannot serve the Lord. The Lord is not concerned with whether you have money or not. Even if you offer mental service to the Lord, then it is good. Having said that, if you have money, then don't just say, oh, mental service is great. How much we should offer to the Lord. All right? That ends chapter 10. We have to go to chapter 11. Questions? Yes, Lakshya.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji, meditation is similar to trance, like, and which is possible maybe in when devotee is established in his Swarupa, so he can meditate on that. And it is difficult for neophytes or maybe second class.
So, what you are referring to is samadhi. So, there is remembrance of the Lord, there is a meditation, and there is a samadhi. So, there is Shushtu Chintanam means like deep absorption, and samadhi is complete absorption. So, usually on that level, you are transcended the body completely, and then you are in that state of relationship with Krishna, where your whole being is focused on that relationship to serve Krishna. So it is a higher level, but yeah, you are along the lines. Good. We'll go to 11. Right. So servitorship is the next item, and you can actually refer back to the list that we are doing. Don't need to right now, but you can see how we are just tracking that, because otherwise what happens is that you will, if you don't have this, then you will be lost on so many things are bringing up where is the connection. So going back to the list and then seeing one by one as Rupa Goswami expands on the list is really nice way of mapping this out. So we go back to servitorship. So here is the interesting aspect of servitorship. Rupa Goswami says that you can be a servitor to the Lord in two ways. Servitor or dasyam. Essentially in Sanskrit the word is dasyam or servitorship, literally. So you can be a person of weak faith and be situated in varnashram dharma, and you can offer the results of your activities to the Lord. It's still considered as dasyam. Or you can actually offer directly the limbs of bhakti. For those who are really strong, then in faith, then you can offer your direct results of bhakti. By hearing and chanting, I can offer it to the Lord as a service. This is a little tricky because we will get into, I think when we read this, then I can explain to you a little bit more. So, Satya Sankalpa Prabhu, you can read maybe, the first two paragraphs. Then we can ask devotees online too.
In the opinion of the karmis, fruitive workers, offering the results of karma is called servitorship. But according to Vaishnava acharyas like Rupa Goswami, servitorship means constant engagement in some kind of service to the Lord. In the Skanda Puran, it is said that those who are attached to ritualistic activities, the 4 orders of social life and the 4 orders of spiritual life are considered devotees. But when devotees are actually engaged in offering service to the Lord directly, these must be Bhagavatas or pure devotees. Those who are engaged in fruitive activities or prescribed duties according to the 4 orders of social and spiritual life are not actually pure devotees. But still, because they are offering the results to the Lord, they are accepted as devotees. When one has no such desire but acts spontaneously out of love of God, such a person must be accepted as a pure devotee.
Just if you can, let me... So here you can see, because there is often confusion. In the 3rd chapter of Gita, we talk of Karma Yoga. And then Prabhupada writes devotional service. People will be really confused because devotional service, is it bhakti or Karma Yoga? So this clarifies that even those persons of weak faith, but who still offer the results or offer the fruits of their work, of their varnashram system to the Lord, are still considered in this particular category. I mean, the Lord does accept their results and treats them as his devotee. So, but Prabhupada writes, when the devotees are actually engaged in offering service to the Lord directly, these must be Bhagavatas or pure devotees. So it's okay. It's okay to if you don't have that kind of faith to start with, then at least offer the fruits to the Lord, saying that, Lord, because I'm working as your servant, you are ordering me to work in this varnashram, then let me at least take these fruits and offer it to the Lord. So Rupa Goswami says, while that is still okay, it is not on the same level of pure devotional service, according to Srila Prabhupada. Is that helpful? Because oftentimes, because the practicality is, I'm working outside and then, I have to chant my rounds and do service. Service in the temple is pure devotional service, and everything I do outside is total Maya. Rupa Goswami says that's not necessarily true. And please continue. Please continue.
The conditioned souls who have come in contact with the material world are all more or less desirous of lording it over the material nature. The system of varnashram and the prescribed duties under this system are so designed that the conditioned soul may enjoy in the material world according to his desire for sense gratification, and at the same time gradually become elevated to spiritual understanding. Under these prescribed duties of Varna and Ashram, there are many activities which belong to devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Those devotees who are householders accept Vedic ritualistic performances as well as prescribed duties of devotional services, because both are meant for satisfying Krishna. When householder devotees perform some Vedic ritualistic duties, they do so to satisfy Krishna. As we have previously discussed, any activity aiming at satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead is considered devotional service.
There you go. So you can see how we shouldn't take discouragement from the fact that we are working outside and it's just Maya, or so I should be like full-time brahmachari or full-time devotee, then only I am pure. That's not necessarily true. Based on and you are right, if your faith is that strong, where you completely are having confidence we'll come to that point as well, that you are at that level where Krishna is going to take care of me. I don't need to worry. And I have that complete faith. Then it's okay to think that lower the maintenance of body and the work related to it, we can give up. But till that point, even offering the fruits of one's activities to Krishna is still considered bhakti. So most of the devotees are in this hybrid combination, where I need to work for my body and offer my fruits, but at the same time execute pure devotional service, or execute acts of devotional service. Till the point that this acts of devotion becomes so strong in faith that this I don't mind. I know Krishna will protect me. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pariv. He himself says that. But the prerequisite is ananyas chinta. At that point, I have no other chinta other than Krishna. So till that point, tattenu kampam susamikshamano. So we have to balance it out. Makes sense? I know this is why, reading deeply Prabhupada's books gives us, and Rupa Goswami, they give us more deeper insights on it's okay to kind of do our job and maintain ourselves. Especially in the Kali Yuga, especially in Silicon Valley, especially in places where, without having some sort of money, it's really hard to get anything done. Questions, comments?
This would be Karma Mishra Bhakti, right?
This would be Karma Mishra Bhakti. Not necessarily. Karma Mishra Bhakti is that to an extent, yes. But the thing is, I am doing my varnashram and I like varnashram, but Karma Mishra Bhakti is I'll offer partial fruits to Krishna. Here, complete fruits. That's it. So it is on the same level, but with a thing that, I still like my work.
My first question is around this line that the system of varnashram and the prescribed duties under the system are designed that the conditioned souls may enjoy the material world. But how is the Brahmin Varn. Is that the same thing though? Am I thinking of Brahman, Kshatriya? Is that Varnashram?
Yes.
So how is the Brahman come under like the desire for sense gratification?
Oh, Brahmanas are not sannyasis. Brahmanas have lot of desire for enjoyment. It might be to get more knowledge, to get more prestige, to do more yajnas, to become more famous, to have nice foodstuffs, nice clothes. It is a natural thing. So, because the key phrase here is the jiva has come to Lord. A Brahmana might think, I need to be the advisor to the king so that I'll get into. Oh yes, everywhere it is there. Same thing. If I can be the advisor to the king, my financial problems are solved. I'll have prestige. I can say that I am the advisor to the king. Oh, it was everywhere. It was the same. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then the other question I had was Bhagavad Gita 9:27. Does that fall under the first type of servitorship or the second type?
First, yat karoshi yadashnasi. Yes.
First type.
First type, varnashram. Whatever you do it's more of karma. It's mixed with karma.
Thank you.
Thank you. One last point I want to add is that Krishna says in Bhakti Yoga that in the 12th chapter, starting with the 8th verse, Mayeva manadhastva, mayi buddhim nivesha, starting that, he says that always think of me. And, with your intelligence and mind fixed in me, you will come to me without a doubt. But if you cannot think of me, then follow the rules of Bhakti Yoga. Nice, yeah. No, 12:8 and then 12. Yeah, since you brought it up, let's okay. Mayeva manadhastva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivashishyasi mayeva atha urdvam na samshayah. Online, anybody can read the translation, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt.
Thank you. Shamchandra Prabhu, let's do a few more verses, please do, and
sure.
Then you can pass. Next verse. Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mai sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya. Translation, please.
Translation. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me.
Thank you. Next verse. Next two verses maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Abhyasepya samartosi matkarma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi.
Translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Nice. So here you can see how Krishna is still accepting, even Bhakti you cannot follow, then work. And then in the next thing he says, give up the fruits of your work to me. So you can see how Krishna is still, he's grading. It's not like, so the acts of pure devotion is what pleasing to Krishna and brings up pure devotional service. But if you cannot do that full time, and it is rarely possible. In Kali Yuga, even if you want to do it, there could be so many factors that might prevent you from doing it. So, better to organically grow in bhakti, better to do your activities of maintaining and taking care of other things, and then getting into it. One last point for those who have adopted full-time devotional service and thinking, maybe I shouldn't have done it. There is no harm still. It's even if you have taken to full-time devotional service and you are unable to execute it for some reason and you just go back, still Bhagavatam says there is no harm. So, just wanted to add that caveat. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So I just want to clarify. So you say Karma Yogi is one who at least offers 50% of his results for Krishna, and Bhakti Yogi is who is doing full time. So as I understood,
Bhakti Yogi is not doing his full time. Bhakti Yogi doesn't mean full time. It is the matter of faith, not the situation you are placed in life.
Okay. So as I heard previous lectures of different devotees, so in Karma Yogi is that he's little bit attached to his work or the place, so that's why he doesn't fall into come into pure devotee. That's right, correct?
Correct. Or the faith in that Krishna is my maintainer has not completely blossomed at that point of time. If what is pleasing to Krishna is directly the acts of devotion, and that's what he likes, and he mentions in many, many places in Gita where he says, only through pure bhakti can you know me as I am. If you haven't come to that stage yet, then it's better to do your duty and offer the results to Krishna.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, if the faith has developed, as per you say, so, and it's still possible that he's working, he's doing his job or work.
Possible?
Or it's a rare case?
No, possible, because sometimes there is an external reason. So here is the thing. Internally, I am completely liberated, but externally, I feel that my temple needs money. Jayananda Prabhu was a classic example, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. So he was still working as a taxi driver, but internally he just gave everything to Krishna. So it's a matter of faith. A liberated soul might actually work. If you see Bhagavatam, the story of Jadabharat, he was completely liberated soul, but it is mentioned Bhagavatam, he was working for the bare maintenance of his body. So some places you can work, some places you are like Python, you just don't do anything. It depends.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to, I also thought about his Jayananda Thakur Prabhu example, because Prabhupada used to cook for him and sometimes he used to allow him to sleep in classes so that's what's the point. Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? Anybody had questions? Online, anybody has questions? All right, let's do this verse and then Athaitad apyasaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan.
Translation. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated.
So you can see how Krishna is grading. I think we discussed this purport. I mean, you can go more deep. It will actually give a practical application as well. So never think that, I'm working outside, it's not pleasing to Krishna. No, it's not necessarily true. But at the same time, don't give up the acts of devotion either. It's satisfied that Krishna is, I'm working outside, I offer the fruits. I don't need to chant my 16 rounds. No. Both.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, what is here self-situated means?
Means that you be satisfied with what you get. Because when you offer the results to Krishna, then you'll be like, if I give the results to Krishna, what am I going to eat? Krishna is saying, be self-situated, knowing that the results will not cause you harm or destruction on your own.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
No, thank you. Yes, Vicky.
Hare Krishna, I wanted to check my understanding. You were saying the reason that Prabhupada points this out is to show the importance of pure devotional service as high in the hierarchy. Is that
true? That is true. That is true. But those who are with weak faith and offer the results to Krishna, Krishna doesn't discount them necessarily, saying that, you are useless. No, he never says that. That's the point they are trying to make. So dasyam or servitorship of the Lord can be the acts of hearing and chanting, or offering the fruits if you are situated in Varnashram system. But Srila Rupa Goswami says, those who have weak faith, they will do the Varnashrama and Karma Yoga. But those of strong faith, then they only truly do. Because when you have that weak faith, maybe I need to worship this Deva. So you can see how faith actually can propel you forward or can hold you back completely. You had a question, Vicky? No? Okay. Yes.
So, Prabhu, if I were to try to summarize this, our entire life is a combination of offering our fruits of action plus the 64, whatever we execute in the 64 levels of bhakti. And the gradation and the leveling that you're talking about happens between how much faith do you do the two with more of a bias towards the 64 limbs of bhakti. Is that how we're supposed to understand this?
Yes. But one point I want to add is, even though one may be completely liberated, one may be externally acting like an ordinary person.
So that would be the part of offering the fruits of...
To an extent, correct. But internally that person is liberated. So when you talk of fruits, I am very aware of my work and aware of offering fruits to Krishna. But in the liberated state, the work and the fruits are actually generated by Krishna. You feel that you are doing nothing there. But because of Krishna's forcing you to, or not forcing, he's putting in that position to do so, you will accept it as the will of the Lord. My request to you is to read the story of Jadabharat, especially the verses in Bhagavatam. I wish we had time to go over each and every verse. Then you will see how even a completely liberated soul will still act in this world. The attitude is Krishna is either A, cleansing the last vestige of material enjoyment that the devotee has, or B, to show to the world, even though liberated, the devotee thinks that I am still under the laws of Maya, or under the clutches of Maya. Because if I make the call, I am liberated, then you are not. Krishna has to make that call. And till that time, the devotee is always thinking, I am fallen and I am bound to this material existence, till the Lord says, you are ready. And that is his prerogative.
So it's an entirely internal...
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Externally, it's hard to make out. A Bhagavatottama might as well have shown no symptoms at all. Jadabharat, people thought he was actually a crazy person, a completely development challenged person, not to use the word, our word, but completely development challenged person. But internally he was exalted. And even Rahugana, he was carrying the palanquin, and then because Jadabharat would see the ants, he would suddenly see the ants, and then he would try to skip over the ants, and because of it, the palanquin was jerking up and down. That was carrying the king. King became really upset and angry. He told his, you fools, you are causing me so much. No, it's not we. It's this new person that came, and then, he is doing it. And then Maharaj Rahugana chastises Jadabharat. And then Jada Bharat, he thinking that he's like such a foolish person, he can't even carry a palanquin properly. What's wrong with this fellow? And then when Rahugana starts, Jada starts instructing Rahugana, then, oh my God, he's a topmost exalted personality. So yes, it's completely internal. Externally, externally the way you can know is, then the question comes is, how do we know externally? Externally you can know is Madhvacharya quotes, it's there in the purport to one of the verses in the 11th canto, where he says some devotees show their topmost devotion externally or explicitly. Some devotees keep it very, very internal and quiet. The only way to know is two things. One is the steadiness in Krishna consciousness or the steadiness in bhakti, and then Mukhya Prasadat, the words that they speak. So that is one way to know. So yeah, you're right. Thank you. I can pull up that verse later, but not now. Yes, Jamavati and Vicky. Go for it.
Hare Krishna. I actually had a question from last class, and I wanted to make a connection here between accepting only what is favorable for devotional service, servitorship, and patiently suffering the reactions of past misdeeds. So, for example, when we were talking about acting from your level, not accepting those things which are not favorable, is there a concept here that fits in about utilizing the mode of passion to cultivate goodness? Because we have to perform material activity to maintain our job so that we have a foundation so that we can practice devotional service, but that doesn't necessarily make it easy to practice devotional service, and also may make it difficult to be happy sometimes. But does that just fall under the category of patiently acting according to our level and Dayabhak, awaiting the Krishna's mercy, and what Devamrita Swami Maharaj was saying, first deserve and then desire, but never aspire.
So your question, if I understand, is what's the correlation between accepting what's favorable and expecting Lord's mercy?
More so that, is it favorable, essentially, to continue that way? Is that just the execution of duties, and that's, it should be looked at as varnashram dharma?
Okay. Sorry, Vicky, you have to rephrase your question. I'm really slow. I'm less intelligent.
I'm sorry for being confusing.
No.
Yeah, I think it was more a question from last class that...
Oh, if I understand you right, so should I aspire to be a pure devotee or stay in varnashram, because you should be maintaining that level of where you are?
Is it appropriate that in maintaining that level there's passion utilized to for maintenance, and also is that still favorable for devotional service if it even makes devotional service difficult sometimes?
So the answer is, I should always aspire for pure devotion to Krishna. But since that is when I talked about having the service according to our level, I want to be a pure devotee of the Lord of the highest order. That's my aspiration. But based on where I am, I'm going to work towards it. So if I am not on that level, to accept the service or to accept that kind of responsibility, then that you would be doing a disservice. But to aspire to go to that level, everybody should aspire to go to that level. Where is the aspiration and where I'm at, and what's the gap, and how can I fill it? That would be a good act to contemplate. Thank you. Hare Krishna. You had a question.
Going back to the point of connecting everything to Krishna, like I have this bad habit that sometimes if I see something bad happening or some people behaving badly, then I just spontaneously, the thought comes in my mind that Krishna, why are like your creations being like this? So how can, so this is obviously thinking, connecting of Krishna with something that is negative or sinful. So how can one overcome this type of negative connection and overcome this kind of habit?
Do you expect violence in prison or no? Everybody becomes a saint as soon as they get into prison. Right. So the answer to the question is, in this material world, people have a desire to dominate and to enjoy, and part of that will be inevitable clash over the same thing that people want. It's just natural in this world. But if you talk of something really terrible, is your question alluding to something really terrible happening, and why would Krishna allow that to happen? Is that?
No, so I'm kind of thinking that is it sinful for me to connect these kind of things to Krishna? Because like you said, those things will happen. It's material world. I understand that. But sometimes I connect that with Krishna, which I feel guilty about, that it's sinful to think of this as connecting to Krishna. So how can I overcome that kind of habit?
Thank you. To clarify your point, it is not sinful to connect to Krishna. And I'll tell you why. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda. He is the cause of all causes. As you see things are happening, if Krishna is not the cause, ultimate cause. And he says, and the verse is beautiful, it's Sarva Karana Karanam. So the point is, Krishna is the cause of causes. He is, in one sense, it is sinful to think, in most of the case it is not, because he is the cause behind everything, but he is not directly causing it. He is the cause behind that cause. It's Jiva's desire to Lord and to be against Krishna that has put them in this phase, and this is what you are seeing it. When I mentioned or alluded earlier to violence in prison, you go to the prison, your tendency to commit violence still remains, and so there is violence, and there are a bunch of people who are violent people, and they are together. It is very natural there will be violence. So in the same way, if you have a bunch of people in this world trying to lord over, thinking they are God, no, I am God, no, you are God, no, you are God, no, I am God, and eventually you will do terrible things. Your mind is going to be uncontrolled, either through lust, anger, or greed. You will do things. So how is Krishna at fault? He is the cause, but he is not propelling you. One verse you can meditate on is 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 15th verse. This is really beautiful verse to meditate. Kindly repeat after me. We are going slightly tangent, but it is always good to have satisfying discussions. Na datte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhuhu ajnanena vrutam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Online, if somebody can read apart from Shamchandra Prabhu translation.
Krishnavarnam Prabhu.
Translation. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge.
So here Krishna is saying, I am not responsible for your sin. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious reactions. Krishna is saying, I have given you this material world. It's the jiva's own ignorance that is the cause. Krishna is not the cause. Yes.
So, like, that part I understand, that it's completely like, but connecting that to Krishna, is that something that I should not be? Because I understand this is true, and ultimately Krishna is, but he's not the direct cause, he's the indirect cause. Like, I understand that part. But is it like sinful for me to connect something like that to Krishna?
No, it's not sinful. I'll give a simple example. If a judge sentences a man to die by hanging, is judge sinful? He is not. But he is the one who pronounced it. It is his words that spoke, written, that has put into chain of motion the person being hanged. Yes or yes? So in one sense, judge is the cause for that person being hanged. In the other sense, he is not. He is just being very neutral. I am just doing it based on what you did. So, imagine there is no judge in this world who is saying, oh my God, I can't take the sinful reactions. Then there will be no judge. But Krishna is saying, I am the supreme judge. So yes, in one sense, I am the cause. But in one sense, you are responsible for your actions. I'm just giving you what you did. So in that sense, to connect it with Krishna is actually beautiful, because thank you, Krishna, for being the supreme judge and being the witness and making sure that the people are getting their karmic reactions. And if they commit sin, it is their own ignorance. But you are the person sitting in their heart, watching what they are doing and ensuring that they have to suffer or enjoy according to their acts. That is your job. Helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, last question. We can then go. We have a lot ground to cover.
Thank you, Ravi. Just adding on this, I want to ask. So, suppose like pains and pleasure and honor and disrespect, dishonor. So, if one receive like pains or somebody is acting disrespectful to me, suppose, let me the example. So if it can be considered as mercy of Lord to reduce the bodily temperature, and also if I am able to differentiate between honor and dishonor, it means I am still in bodily conception of life or pain and pleasure.
It is not. No. If you distinguish between bodily honor and dishonor, it's not you are in the bodily concept of life. It is that if you are treating it equally, you are liberated. Even a liberated soul will feel hot and cold. But if he or she treats it the same, then you are liberated. Because dualities of the world will happen by mercy of Krishna. You get the idea? All right. All good? Anybody raising their hands online? Oh, Satya Sankalpa Prabhu had a question. No, we'll take. It's fine. I usually say that, but I inevitably succumb to questions.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was trying to connect Tatyanukampa verse with Anukulya Sankalpo, Pratikulya Varjan. And then it says like, Lord is my protector and He will protect me in all cases. So when I am undergoing my reactions of my past karma, which can take me away from remembering Lord to how I want to do it, how can I tie that back to that? That also is Lord's protection.
You answered your own question. Because the activities that are negative or troublesome, that take you away from the Lord, but you are tying it to the Lord, saying this is Lord's mercy. So in the negative reactions, in the negative phases, you are thinking more of Krishna, more than what you think of in the positive stage. When a person is really rich and when a person is really famous, you might tend to forget Krishna, but when you are in the negative situation, there is always, oh Krishna, this is tough, but thank you for giving me this. In fact, it can be a propellant to remember Krishna better.
Yes, I totally agree that it can be, but given my conditioned state, I'm thinking about like how to solve these material situations more than depending on Krishna. So
it is both. For example, if you have to solve a coding problem and the boss comes 3 days later, any solution? What's the progress? I'm waiting for God to give me an answer. I don't know. I'll let you know when He gives. No, you just have to do your work, saying, I did this. But ultimately, when seeing that effort, Krishna will make sure that you get the solution. He's waiting for your effort, then He is saying, I will give you a solution. And expecting Lord's mercy, there is one more item actually I want to talk, and we will it'll correlate it nicely with what you have. All right, we'll continue a little bit more. Yeah, we can go faster actually after this. Yeah. You can go back to the slide.
Krishna.
Shamchandra Prabhu, you had a question?
No problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. You have to increase the font. It's really small. I cannot see it. Either make it a slideshow or something like that. Thank you. All right. The next item is friendship. Friendship is two aspects. One is the confidential servant of the Lord, and second is the well-wisher of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada writes, he writes the difference between that. He says the devotee who has confidence in devotional service to the Lord systematically follows the rules and regulations with faith that he will achieve the platform of transcendental life. The second type of devotional friendship is to become the well-wisher of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The slight twist here is that it seems a little counterintuitive. The Lord is the well-wisher of the devotees. How is it that you become the well-wisher of the Lord? What's the point in wishing well to somebody who can never be unwell? The idea is this. At this stage, Krishna is looking forward to that love in the form of well-wishing friend. The example I can give is that after the incident of Virat in Mahabharata, where it was discovered that the Pandavas were living incognito in kingdom of Virat, there was a slight argument or a difference of opinion. The Duryodhana and their party claimed, as rightfully, that we discovered Pandavas before the time was due. But Pandavas said the time and the Muhurta kind of passed, so we fulfilled the terms and then we are ready to get our kingdom back. And then, of course, we know the story of Duryodhana refused the kingdom and they started preparing for the war, inevitable war that was supposed to happen. And both the Pandava and the Kaurava brothers started going across the country, soliciting different kings to fight on their behalf. And the war seems to be inevitable. And there was a lot of anxiety at that point of time. Many, many sages, well-wishers, and people came to Yudhishthir, to Dhritarashtra, and said, avoid fighting with Pandavas. There are omens that your dynasty will be utterly destroyed if you don't make peace with the Pandavas. But it didn't work out. And then there were feverish efforts to make sure that there were peace talks and peace treaties and having diplomacy at place to avoid this humongous war. At that point, Dhritarashtra's mentality was to the Pandavas, this was his Pandava, be satisfied. Don't come back for your kingdom. We will keep your kingdom. You should. And then the way they did it is that this is typical gaslighting that is found in Mahabharata. You are all pious souls. For the kingdom, you want to kill us? You want to fight with us? I'm the one who actually took away your kingdom. Now I'm gaslighting you to say that, you are the perpetrator, not the victim. Why? You really want to kill your elders and Bhishma and others. You really want to see them fight, and you really want to do it. And Yudhishthira and others were like really disheartened by this kind of message that was coming from that, and they tried their level best. And Duryodhana was not budging an inch, literally speaking. And afterwards, Krishna said that, you know what, I will go to Hastinapur and I will see if I can establish peace. The Lord's activities are wonderful because he already decided Mahabharata war is going to happen. But he said, I will go. It becomes a little bit somewhat very puzzling. Why did the Lord chose go to Hastinapur? For one, it was already decided that the war would happen, all the kings will be destroyed. Second thing is, if that was already decided by the Lord, what's the point in going for peace? Because apparently his will of having the war will supersede his desire for peace. Eventually, the Lord will be looked upon as a failure. Yes or yes? Am I making sense? He decided war is to happen. Now he is trying for peace. It will inevitably end in a failure because the war is the precedence. Why did he even offer? And Yudhishthira said, please don't go. Duryodhana and his friends are evil-minded. They will be hostile towards you. They will disrespect you. And we cannot face that situation. So don't go. You know what Krishna says? Krishna says, the whole world will think that it is Yudhishthira who out of his greed for the kingdom has provoked this reckless war. And enough was not done. But if I go, the whole world will say, even Krishna tried, it didn't work out. The blame will be off you. So this is Krishna acting as a well-wisher of Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira acting as a well-wisher of Krishna, saying that we just don't want you to see you disrespected and humiliated. So in that sense, the devotee is always making Krishna look good as a well-wisher. That is the job of devotee. So in that sense, it comes well-wisher. And then Srila Prabhupada extends that well-wisher concept. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord accepts a preacher as the dearmost servant. So well-wishing friend of the Lord means that you will spread his message. And you will do your part, whether be it through book distribution or telling others about Krishna consciousness, whatever be it, so you can do it. So far, so that is the two aspects. We can go back to the slide. So the next item there is surrender. Surrendering everything to the Lord. There are two aspects. Atma Nivedana is the word is used. What is Atma? Atma can mean the body or the soul. So offering both body and soul to Krishna. And Srila Rupa Goswami says it's not that easy to execute this level of surrender. And so if we can go to that particular thing, Akhil, and go to the Nectar of Devotion, please. And the last paragraph in that, correct. Yeah. Online, who didn't get a chance to read, please. Is there I think there are only a couple of devotees online.
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay. Please, yeah. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Rasa Purnima, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami says that devotion service in friendship and devotion service in self-surrender are two different processes. Therefore, such relationships with the Lord can very rarely be seen. Only for the advanced devotees are these two processes easily executed. The purport is that it is very rare to see surrender that is mixed with sincere ecstatic devotion. One must give himself completely to the will of the Lord.
Thank you. We can go back to the slide. I can go through quickly because then we can talk about one other aspect. The next, if you can go to the next slide, please. Items 27 through 33. So offering a favorite article, it is there. You can offer something to please Lord Hari. Performing all endeavors for Krishna. It is it is said that it is mentioned just do everything for Krishna. There also Srila Prabhupada mentions the earlier thing where he said that for example, a devotee who has great establishment or factory may offer the fruits of such material position for the service of the Lord. So the point is not what you are doing, whether Krishna is the center of what you are doing. So that is the criteria. When we talk of performing all the endeavor for the Lord, should I buy this house? Should I change this job? Or should I go for this situation? The consideration is how is Krishna being the center or not being the center of those activities? Is Krishna, am I basing my decision based on Krishna's service or my own interests? So if Krishna is the center, even though it might be initially like, oh, I made a mistake, but it will work out in the long run because intention was Krishna. All right, the next one we'll go, please. Being a surrendered soul. So this is little different. So we talked about surrender, and then there is a being a surrendered soul. Surrendering everything to Krishna is mentioned, and then there is a being surrendered soul. So we can discuss that a little bit. So here, being the surrendered soul indicates a state of mind or consciousness. And surrendering oneself to Krishna is an active verb. So being the state of surrendered soul is that Krishna will protect me. I have offered this body to Krishna and He'll maintain me. So here it is mentioned, in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is a following statement about self-surrender. My dear Lord, a person who has surrendered himself or herself onto you, who is in firm conviction that he is yours, who actually acts in that way by his body, mind and words, can actually release transcendental bliss. So it's a state of mind versus an active principle. So that's the difference why Rupa Goswami used both. In some cases, he emphasizes the same principle slightly subtly or repeats it just to highlight its importance or having certain facets. All right. So the next few is serving Tulsi. I mean, we have ample experience, but it is really nice to know that when we do morning Tulsi Puja, it is mentioned 9 limbs, 9 aspects of Tulsi. There are 9 is offering obeisances, pouring water, where is it? Touching, seeing, circumambulating, there are 9. It's if you go through this carefully, then you can see it. Simply by touching, simply by seeing, simply by remembering, simply by praying, bowing down before, hearing about, or by sowing. So seeing, touching, remembering, praying, bowing, hearing, sowing, and then 9 are there, circumambulating, offering Tulsi. So it's really nice to know. I mean, this is one of the underrated hidden gems of ISKCON is Tulsi Puja. We don't know how much potency it has actually. All right, chapter 12. This is, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, as you said, friendship, confidential servitor of Lord, well-wisher of the Lord. So, in any of the, like even in Vatsalya Rasa, he'll be confidential servant and well-wisher. And in any Rasa, the devotee will be the well-wisher of the Lord. So, what's the explicitly like friendship? And we mentioned this. And you also talked about surrender. And I think in all 5 rasas, there will be the devotee will be surrendered to Lord. So how we can understand these two?
So what you are talking of is in the Raganuga stage. This, the reason it is mentioned, it is difficult but possible, is when it is in Vaidhi stage. In the Raganuga stage, it is easy. The same things, servitor. So there is a possibility or a scope for these activities even in the sadhana stage. That's what Rupa Goswami is trying to say. I mean, being a confidential servitor, I'll tell you one confidential friendship of Krishna. And this is applicable to all the devotees. No devotee who is mature enough and who wants to be a confidential, even in the sadhana stage, they don't go and talk about the rasa pastimes of Krishna very openly. It is being like a confidential friend of Krishna. These are like really confidential activities, and I will treat as such, not being very public about it. I mean, think about it. This is one item that you can be a confidential friend of Krishna. And that is possible in any stage. Yes or yes? Other thing it is mentioned is one should not glorify, or one should not tell the glories of the holy name to those who are not believers. And Prabhupada and Devamrit Maharaj was mentioning in his lecture that, he was very, one singer, musician, somebody came to meet Prabhupada and somebody was trying to tell the glories. He immediately got it, don't tell him the glories. So you can be like a confidential friend of Krishna, and as much, it's like a regular thing. A friend tells you in confidence about, whatever, and then you'll never share with the third person. That's what is mentioned here. So it's pretty much possible. It's not necessarily, unless I become a Raganuga, no. Anybody can be a confidential friend of Krishna. Yes. Yes. Online, I don't see the... Mansi Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you for joining all the way from New Vrindavan. Great to see you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, about this devotional service and friendship, if I'm not wrong, is Srila Rupa Goswami talking about Sakhyaras here?
This is more of in the Raganuga stage, it is not established. Everybody can be a friend of Krishna. And so it's not necessarily a rati-defined stage, a relationship-defined friendship. It is just being or acting as a friend towards Krishna. And because you can do it in sadhana, Rupa Goswami included in the sadhana items. Otherwise, he would say there is no scope of being a friend in sadhana stage. But Rupa Goswami says, to do this in sadhana is little difficult and rare, but in Raganuga it's easy. And maybe I should read that particular paragraph actually, now that you brought up. Oh no, we already read that. Srila Rupa Goswami says that devotional friendship and self-surrender are two difficult processes. So we already read that. I think we read the last paragraph. If you read that last paragraph again, you will see that he says it's difficult, but it's easy. So there is the scope of this in the sadhana, but rare and difficult. But in the Raganuga, it becomes easy. And is that helpful?
Yes. I was just a little confused because I thought if it's Sakhyaras, then how can you just be a well-wisher? Then it's such a nice relationship with the Lord. So that's why I was getting confused. But you cleared it.
Yeah, you are always a well-wisher, but then sometimes in Sakhyaras it's more explicit. Otherwise, you are always a well-wisher of Krishna. I'll give one more example. If you are in the temple and somebody is trying to, for example, eat bhoga before it's offered to the Lord, then you become like, hey, don't take it, because you are looking out for Krishna. And you're saying, hey, Krishna has to eat first. Just like a mother, if she has prepared for the child some food stuff and the husband comes and eat it, the mother will say, hey, stop it, it's not for you, it's for the child. Something like that, Mata.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Why is it difficult in sadhana stage to have both friendship and surrender, or surrender which is mixed with sincere ecstatic devotion?
Because we have not reached to that level where we have completely had that faith in Krishna, that Krishna will protect me, and having that kind of mellow, or the taste of that mellow, or even the raising of that mellow is not yet happened. And that's why the constant question, even devotees who have been there for many, many years, why is Krishna doing this to me? Why me? In the advanced stage, you will never ask that. You'll be like, yes, thank you. Hare Krishna. So these are chapter 12. We started off with the items. So 23 to 27. Then, so we see 21 to the, and the 44 additional items in the left box, 21 through 59. So we are journeying through those kind of things. So we will do those, and then the remaining also. So let's go back to the slides, please. That particular slide. Next one. 12. Okay. Items 33 to 44. Hearing revealed scriptures. Srila Rupa Goswami. What is a revealed scripture? It's a big question. And Rupa Goswami says any scripture that helps you appreciate and increases your bhakti is a revealed scripture. Because we need to read scriptures as well, but we cannot read any and all scriptures. He specifically defines that. So he says hearing revealed scriptures, and from our perspective, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost, but we have Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have Bhagavad Gita and these verses, books. And then rendering service to the devotees, serving Lord according to one's position, performing devotional service in Kartik, celebrating Lord's activities, serving deity with devotion, reading Srimad Bhagavatam amongst the devotees, associating with advanced devotees. And then the next two items are chanting the holy name of the Lord and living in Mathura. So these 5 items, last 5 items, Srila Rupa Goswami again mentions it as the potent items in that. Yes, you can look it up. So these are the items. Let me see if there is something we can discuss at length in this. I quoted that in the Bhakti Sastri today, in that revealed scriptures in the channel, where I said if you have, sorry, what is it, question? Okay. So if you go up, then previous slide, there, hearing revealed scriptures, Srila Rupa Goswami writes, if you have Vaishnava scriptures at home, then Lord Vishnu stays in that home, and all the sins are destroyed if you read it, or all the sins are destroyed in that home. It's actually mentioned in that. So I thought that was really nice. Residing in Mathura is there, rendering service to the devotees. Again, there are multiple, that is really nice, 36, if you see rendering service to the devotees. Serving Lord according to one's position is that based on the money that you have, you can do it. That according to one's position is that where you have resources, then you should use the resources to serve the Lord. Performing devotional service in Kartik, we are going to get that coming soon. Observing festivals, celebrating Lord's activities. For example, Janmashtami, and then we do Govardhan Puja, where he lifted Govardhan hill. So those are there. Serving deity with devotion, that we have done. Reciting Bhagavatam amongst devotees. That one one section, we can have a whole class on the glories of Bhagavatam. But the gist of it is that of all the Vedic revealed scriptures, the Bhagavatam is like the ripe fruit, the ripe fruit of all the Vedic literatures. And then it is, Prabhupada says, it's better to read Bhagavatam amongst the association of devotees. And then associating with advanced devotees, that is also equally important. And then chanting the holy name of the Lord. Then living in Mathura. These are the four items, that up to 44, and then the next we'll do is 5 potent items in the next class. 13, 14 we'll do in the next class. Then 15, 16 is Raganuga, 17, 18 is Bhava, and 19 is Prema. You had a question?
We were just discussing that why is chanting the holy names number 43? Should it come earlier?
Should it come early? Actually, Rupa Goswami considered the first items important is approaching a spiritual master. I discussed that at length. So he enumerates various forms of bhakti, including chanting. And later he mentions that he repeats it. Now if you see 5 items, he's going to repeat it. Amongst them, chanting of the names are there as well. It's no particular order, but he's emphasizing in future. Is that okay? Okay. Any other questions? What? You want us to read? We can read. It's not the point. But, yeah. We'll talk a little bit of... Oh, you had a question.
A really quick question, Prabhu. The residing in Mathura, is that a proxy for Dham, residing in Dham?
Yes. And for those who cannot reside physically, it is mentioned you can always reside mentally. Yeah?
Other dhams as well, so residing.
So it's Mathura is there, but it means other dhams as well, Vrindavan or Jagannath Puri or Dwarka or other places as well. Dhambas, yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, in last class you said regarding red and blue and temple, you said it is like altar. But I was reading in the 21st item, it is mentioned DT room. Prabhupada especially mentioned DT room, not like in other cases he mentioned temple. So, which, like as above he has mentioned temple, so we can interpret it as DT room, or what, like how do we understand?
Where did he write it's in DT room? In the Nectar of Devotion itself? Correct. So the thing is, all these items, as I mentioned earlier, they are when you are a pujari. Seva aparad. Because these items, there are 2 categories, Seva aparad and Nama aparad. So Seva aparad was extensive items. One cannot touch if you are sweating too much, or if you have applied oil all over your body, you went to a crematorium, other things, then you cannot just go to the altar. And that red and blue includes in those. Now why red and blue, I don't know. But my understanding is that it is not entering the temple, or rather than when you say entering the temple, it can specifically mean the DT room as you mentioned. At least in the case of Seva Aparats only, not other places. Yeah. Because as I mentioned, Prabhupada never said or never allowed visitors not to come to the temple if you are wearing red or blue. Yeah, he didn't say, right, hey, get that person out of the temple, he's wearing red. or there was no sign posted. If you are wearing red and blue, you cannot enter the temple. All right. Any other points? Exam. We'll talk about exam as well. Yes, but please continue.
Actually,
You can just show the Zoom. I can see the participants. Thank you.
someone asked me that we were listening your lecture, so you said about this. So they asked me why red and blue. So I said, I don't know, Prabhuji. Somebody asked you and you said you don't know also. So I said it could be maybe
Move my mic closer.
it could be because it's an eye-catching color. So the senior devotees want visitors to see beauty of Lord, not the eye-catching color. So maybe like that.
Maybe. But let's not use that, because people will start coming in bright lime and yellow colors, because it's only red and blue is not there. And bright orange. And yes, maybe. I don't know why it came. Rupa Goswami, he doesn't even mention this. Actually, I will try to find out if possible, because Rupa Goswami doesn't mention these items. Actually, if you'd be surprised to know, he doesn't mention. He said one should avoid the seva aparadha and nama aparadha. That's it. Jiva Goswami, he in his commentary to Nectar of Devotion, he goes through Hari Bhakti Vilas very detailedly, and then he takes out all these items and he puts it in here as a commentary for the aparad portions. So now maybe in Hari Bhakti Vilas it is mentioned why red and blue, if they have some commentary on that, but I haven't read Hari Bhakti Vilas. I don't, I usually dare not to. Hari Bhakti? No. Anyways, all right. Online, yes. Krishna Dave, Prabhu.
Hi Krishna Prabhuji, this is Krishna and Preeti Karangi. So it's just a hunch. Radharani really loves blue. So probably it's because of that the color is reserved for Damodar and for no one else. Same applies to the color red.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Anything else? Yes, Vicky.
Hare Krishna, we were also discussing why is there specific mention of Mathura and Dwarka, but not necessarily Radhakund.
Mathura is the Mathura area. So if we look up in Nectar of Devotion, it says that Vrindavan Mathura area is about 82 square miles, which includes everything, Govardhan Hill, Radhakund, all those things. 84 Kosh, thank you. You had a question? Okay.
Prabhuji, we have to, can you tell, like you explained all 64 items, so how many we have to learn, or we just have to learn ABCD, that's it?
Well, I will say for sure ABCD, but at the same time, I'm in the DT room, so I'm not going to say that nothing will come. Okay, I think it's a nice segue into exam. I have about 10 more minutes. Let me talk about exam, because I completely understand Nectar of Devotion can be overwhelming as far as information goes, and there is a natural concern or fear, like how much will I even remember in the exam, and please don't feel discouraged, please. Bhakti Sastri is something that we've been doing for a long time, and I haven't seen only 5% pass rate in Nectar of Devotion. I have not seen. Everybody passes 95, 96, 98, 100% almost. So the point is, when you go through the exam, remember the salient points. Remember the important points. I will tell you for sure what is not going to come in exam. I will never ask you for the item 22 surrender, which verse Rupa Goswami used as proof. Never will you get those kinds of questions. Basically, the whole purpose of Bhakti Shastri is I need to read Prabhupada's books I need to be able to assimilate it and tell others what is pure devotional service. What are the important items of pure devotional service? What are the practical aspects of it? There could be, having said that, an exam is such that everybody should be equally satisfied. Everybody's effort and intellect and understanding power and remembering power is not at the same level. If it is too easy, then those folks will be disappointed. If it is too tough, everybody is disappointed except one or two. So we try to keep up a balance so that you are encouraged to read Prabhupada's books. Ultimately, Bhakti Sastri is not going to give you a raise at work. It is not going to give you an entry into Nobel Peace Prize Committee, which some people are desperately seeking these days. Neither will you be getting an easier admission into Stanford, for example. Bhakti Shastri is meant to be a platform to help you read Prabhupada's books, and more importantly, get into the habit of reading Prabhupada's books for a lifetime of successful devotion to Krishna. That is the goal. So just read and write notes. I've sent the waves of devotion. So there could be one or two questions that could be a little tricky, but overall, nothing to worry about. So far, so good. So my recommendation is, when you get the key concepts, you should try to understand. I'll give you some key concepts. There is Bhava Bhakti and there is Prema Bhakti. Oh, what is the difference? If you don't know that difference, then you will think I'm on Prema. But there are certain defining characteristics. The idea is reading with a view on how I can apply it to my own devotional life. Not, I know Nectar of Devotion, I know this verses, I know how many verses are quoted, how many items are. That is not the point. That is really not the point. There will be verses to memorize, so please read those. Which brings up the point. Next time, if somebody can take a printout, I'll try to get the printout. We'll do the verses in the class. Okay, we'll do the verses in the class together. So that way, that when we do it repetitively, you will remember those verses. The exam is still on target, sometime in December perhaps. I'll need 3 more classes. We'll have 13, 14, one class. And we'll do a recap of sadhana. 15, 16 will be Raganuga. And then 17, 18, 19, I want to cover Bhava and Prema in one class. The reason would be that you can contrast Bhava and Prema, and there are 3 chapters alone. Rupa Goswami doesn't go too much into it, as much as he does with sadhana. I mean, it's not, he doesn't go too much into it. He just gives but the thing is, we won't go too much into it, because the southern part is where, the whole dynamics of prema comes about, and then we don't get into the southern part. So he does go into it, but we don't. Let's put it that way. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so very much. That's really helpful. You got the point, Prabhu. The main problem is Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We'll go through it so many times. But this is very important, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but you have less focus. I'm also a little bit scared, and your statement gave me energy. I'm reading, but still the problem is we will not read as much we read others like Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. So this will definitely helpful if you give some hints. Yeah.
Thank you, Shyamachandra Prabhu. I'll take it as a great benediction that you have given me on me. So thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the class. As I wanted to just reiterate what Prabhu said, that I was really overwhelmed after the first class, and I think I told you about it. But now it's getting a little easier. I won't say easy, but a little easier. Thank you.
Wonderful. No, thank you for all the efforts. This is the beauty. This is too much. I can't do it. I'll just... No, but then Krishna, when he says, no, I'll stick to it, and the sincerity comes, like Sukamala was mentioning, Krishna will make it easier. The whole goal is not to make life tough. And following in that spirit, as an examiner, my goal is not to make your life tough either. We'll keep it. But then It's a class, so we need to read, we need to understand, so please make sure understand the basics very thoroughly. What is sadhana bhakti? What is vaidhi? What is raganuga? What is bhava? What is prema? This is like the big. What is the definition of pure devotion? What are the 6 characters? So if you know all these concepts, the other overwhelming information is good, but it is not something that you need to worry or remember about. If you enjoy and relish it, oh my goodness, there are some rasikas, oh my God, so this verse Rupa Goswami gave, and this is the nuance he gave, and this is this. And then maybe he could have included, some people, even I remember they say, oh, maybe he could have included this verse would have been nice. And they were not wrong in their own sense, but the idea is you can be on that level, or you can be like, eesh, this is too much. But, just have the basics, just the basics. The big chunks, if you can, we should be fine. And one exam question I already gave you. So it is going to come, verse for memorization, and I need an essay on the Anavilashita Shunyam. Don't give me 2-3 sentences and say, I explained. Later feel that, oh my God, no. Because that really takes time. You need to understand why, what. Because, okay. Anything else? I'm so grateful to this small and few but very intimate class. I'm so grateful that you came, and may we be blessed by our previous acharyas and Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Varga, so that we may read, remember, and get inspired by nectar of devotion. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.